Today's show is sponsored by Smart. Stay tuned at the end of the show to learn how I'm using my interactive display to enhance my teaching. Episode 263, Happy Apples. Fun PD subscription boxes made for teachers by the district.
The 10-Minute Teacher Podcast with Vicki Davis. Every weekday, you'll learn powerful, practical ways to be a more remarkable teacher today.
Today, we're talking with Crystal Marshall-Krauss, Digital Learning, Innovation, and Design Resource Teacher from Maryland. Crystal, you and your team came up with this really cool subscription box type idea for PD for your teachers, and you call it Happy Apples. Tell us what this is.
We came up with this idea to kind of address a couple of needs. We saw so many people getting excited about subscription boxes. So we thought, how can we use that for learning in some way? So we started prototyping it and tested it out on a few teachers, and they all loved it. And what they get is they get an actual physical cardboard box, like a catalog mailer. And inside, they have tons of little goodies. So they will have curated list of online and digital content. We call those their personalized learning bites. They get some books, a student activity, other articles or magazines as meets their needs. And we always like to include a few other kind of fun things that they can do. So we have thank you cards, prompts to send thank you cards to parents or students or colleagues during the time that they get the box. And they get one delivered 5 times a year, and we sneak into their schools and put it in their teacher mailbox. So they get a surprise when they come to their mailbox at the end of the day. And they seem to really be enjoying it.
Now, you're using Canva to kind of even put, here's some people to follow on this topic and some other stuff. What kind of things are you designing for these boxes?
Yeah, so we use Canva for a lot of our kind of printed content. It's a great, easy design tool to use. And we will create student activities. So the beginning of the year, one of the ones that pretty much all of the teachers who got it used it was really a student interview guide. So to come up with questions and kind of some guiding thought behind that about how to interview students to find out more about them and get kind of a more personal one-on-one relationship with the students. A lot of the teachers have a lot of students, and so they were able to kind of take small groups and focus in on and then learn some really interesting and new things about their students they may not have had a chance to learn before. We also create student handouts. So we created a whole activity around listening to podcasts with some suggestions for some great podcasts for students to be able to practice listening and getting their learning in a different way and be able to take notes. And the great thing is we have from K to 8th grade teachers. So we have to differentiate a little bit for the different grade levels. It's easy in Canva because you can just make a copy and kind of make those adjustments as are appropriate.
How did you decide to customize these different boxes? Because every teacher doesn't get the same thing, do they?
No, they don't. So it took a little bit of figuring that part out. There's really, we have a larger team, but there's 2 of us that are really committed to this little side project that we came up with. The other one is a resource teacher in instructional technology, Carrie Truden. We had about 10 topics that we felt like we could probably get started with, and we had enough information and knowledge and contacts to be able to pull together. We had the teachers choose their top 3 out of those 10. We had hoped that several would pick the same 3. We could have several of the same boxes. Did not turn out that way.
Oh my.
So pretty much everybody has a different combination of the 3, or they're at different grade levels. So they have to be changed a little bit anyway. But so we try to work on smaller bits of information at one time. And so, for instance, instructional technology is a huge piece that many of the teachers were asking for. So we may create a couple of items or links to some articles or find some magazines that we have with articles that would match up with their grade level. And so we'll kind of work on all of that. And then when we go to put the boxes together, we take all the pieces and match them up for the individual teacher that we're providing it for.
Tell us a story about one of the teachers that got this box and it changed something in their classroom.
The biggest changes we've seen have really been in the student relationships. We've seen teachers say that they were really excited to have a new activity to try with their students. The student interview piece was a huge one that we got feedback on after the first box. The teachers were able to learn different interests of the students and then created small group reading assignments around those interests for the students, which they may not have done before. That was kind of a huge thing for them. We also have some specialists in the schools that are kind of on their own. They may not have another teacher in a similar role in the school building, and they really appreciated having things kind of customized just for them, and the media specialist and the reading specialist and that sort of thing.
You tried this with just a few teachers and you've gotten some feedback now. What's the feedback you're getting and how are you going to change this for the future?
So our big goal is to double the number of teachers that we get for the last two boxes. So we met with a few of them to get some feedback, and they said, we have so many colleagues that want one too. And when we get our boxes, one teacher said she ran down the hall bringing everybody their boxes. We got our boxes. So we plan to send an invitation in the one that's going out this week, and they'll be able to invite a colleague to join for the last two for this school year. We're trying to include more of the student activities, really kind of branching out in that area where we can start to differentiate a little bit more and really get down to things that they can use right away, while also providing some kind of stretch and reading content that they may not have seen before.
There are a lot of folks out there listening to this show who design professional development for teachers. Now, this is not a company you bought this from. You're actually making these boxes yourself. So what is your advice to those who are listening to this saying, hey, I want to do my own version of Happy Apples and make some kind of subscription box for my teachers?
So my advice would be to make sure you have a team of people and get really organized. And I think starting small, especially if you have the opportunity to start small, because you can get that feedback from them as you're going and figure out what's really working. What do they want more of? We keep asking them what they want us to change, and they keep saying they like everything. So maybe we'll be able to increase some of that. But it's a really fun kind of thing. And I think probably the most thing that we've learned about this is to look at the things that people get excited about and see how you can bring that into professional learning for teachers.
We will link in the show notes to the Happy Apples idea. This is a fantastic idea for professional development. And I even wonder if we could figure out a way to use this with our students, because everybody likes to get basically it's a prize box, which we used to use that even in the 70s and 80s when I was a kid in school. So thanks, Crystal. I love this idea. And, we all need to get creative and get excited about learning.
Great. Thank you.
This week, I'll be sharing the 7 pedagogical shifts that make interactive displays a key to a student-centered classroom on the Cool Cat Teacher blog, sponsored by Smart Technologies. Shift number 1 is that students are collaborators. My interactive display is the common workspace for the whole class. I use it as a digital workspace to display any screen for the whole class to see, as a large multi-touch drawing and brainstorming space, and so much more. My interactive display is a must-have device for me as a teacher.
Thank you for listening to the 10-Minute Teacher Podcast. You can download the show notes and see the archive at coolcatteacher.com/podcast. Never stop learning.